So I started up Elden Ring Nightreign, honestly just conflicted and disappointed. On one hand, I was stoked that I got into this whole technical test and I was just so ready for just more Elden Ring. But on the other, I was worried that the game was just too different and it might not be worth that price of admission, even though it's just $40. It really didn't help that my first few matches had people leaving, constantly just dying, zero communication, and overall just felt like a waste of the limited time I had to even play this technical test. But by the end, I'm conflicted, but a little more optimistic about where the game is really heading. It might not be for everyone, but I think that's okay. Here are my first impressions of Elden Ring Nightreign. So I've got as much footage as I could get, and I tried to experience all 4 classes as best as possible. Again, it was a limited test, guys, so keep that in mind. And to somewhat explain the gameplay loop here, you choose one of those 4 classes, the Wilder, Duchess, Guardian, or Recluse, which by the way, there's going to be 4 more in the official launch, and you're dropping into Limgrave to kill, upgrade, and loot your way to the end. Calling this game more of like a battle royale, I think, is a disservice to it, even though it's got a little bit of those features, but it's really just a lot more of like a roguelike boss gauntlet game. You're going to be dropping in with 3 randoms, and depending on their skill level, that'll basically dictate your experience. My first few games, like I said, were really rough. I was on teams that just didn't get the game, just like me. And I mean, the worst thing that happened was that they would just leave out of frustration, just leaving me alone to just figure things out. I got a few of those games in, and trust me, it is just not fun. And I'm hoping that the single player experience with bots, I mean they're adding bots, but hopefully that's just a lot better. But eventually you will get a good group to play with, trust me. Going back to those characters, they aren't just skins. They're basically builds from Elden Ring that you can also modify mid-game. Each class has certain skills that you're able to activate, like the Wilder's Hook. You can also launch this ultimate attack like the Duchess's Invisibility, and you'll drop into the map, take 0 fall damage, and basically are free to sprint wherever you want to go. That gameplay for me felt jarring at first. I mean, it felt fast, it felt like a Fortnite no build session. Sorry for another Battle Royale comparison, but seriously, guys, it felt really like the Fortnite no build. I mean, you're even able to climb as well. I like kind of like hopping on the walls and just like lifting yourself up, a little bit like Apex and Fortnite. But honestly, guys, it felt like Elden Ring, but maybe just a little more fan-made. I mean, I was expecting more of like a heavier co-op journey before the details came out about this one. So it did feel just a lot more arcadey, but you get used to it pretty fast. That sprint is unlimited, and it is necessary because there's no mounts, and you're basically going from areas on the map to kill enemies, level up, find some items, and take out bosses for different buffs and weapons. Eventually, though, after a few games, I did see the appeal, and I was getting into it, especially because I do like roguelike games. Once you land, you're going to take on mobs of enemies for some easy XP, and one of the first things we do is we look for any churches to add our flask charges and basically be able to take more damage on and be able to heal ourselves without dying. When you do die, though, you are able to just like hit your, friend or whoever until like you get their bar all the way down to 0, and you're able to revive them. So that is helpful. But I mean, people are attacking you while you're doing that, so it is a little risky. One of the characters that I like to play the most was the Duchess character, and I thought it was because she fought real fast and was able to go invisible. I was able to find a poison dagger after one of the boss fights, and I dual wielded the poison and the bleed dagger, and I was basically just shredding through bosses, even though we had a third leave on our team, so it was just me and this other guy. The co-op session I had was actually a lot of fun because you're basically on the run trying to get as strong as possible during the day while that circle closes in, like in a battle royale. If you're outside of that circle, you will be taking damage in it, but not a lot, but it is enough to where you just shouldn't want to be in it. And at the end of the night, you are fighting a boss where we fought a centipede type of thing, and then you go into day 2 if you beat it. Day 2 is where you repeat the cycle, you level up some more, you find weapons, or you level them up with smithing stones if you find them or are able to buy them. And you're killing bosses in areas for, like I said, those weapons, those buffs that almost seem, I think, a little random, like in a roguelike as well. And when the night closes in, you go to the center of the circle for boss fight 2, which, by the way, kicked our ass quite a bit. The game is difficult, just like Elden Ring, despite having those abilities and more characters that are actually fighting with you. And if you make it to day 3, you're basically just going to fight the last boss of the run. At the end of the run, whether you win or lose, you do get these runes that you can basically activate for your next runs, which are modifiers that make you stronger. I found something that just like doubled up on my bleed effect, or I think it made Duchess's first weapon or initial weapon have some bleed to it, which was great. Overall, guys, I mean, I think once I got used to the whole run system, I found a character that I liked. I did start to find the game to be really fun and a little bit addicting. It is different. It could take a little getting used to, but I think overall that roguelike feeling where you're dropping in, you're leveling, you're looting, and you're taking on difficult bosses is really fun. Seriously. I think it'll honestly be a lot more fun with friends when it's fully out, but I am interested to see what happens here with the single player aspect of the game. One thing I am worried about though is going to be that content side, and I'm not sure how long a game like this can kind of just keep our attention, right? I mean, our attention spans are shit nowadays, and if there aren't enough updates or different content to discover within the game, despite it not being that expensive at $40, I think it does need to have some kind of replayability or things that you really want to discover, different secrets and things like that in the map. I do trust FromSoft though. I think they are not known to just crank out cash grab garbage. So definitely guys, I am looking forward to this one just because of their reputation. Like I said, it felt different. It did not feel that bad despite the shit games that I got into early on. But once you get into those fun runs, you are able to take on the bosses, by the skin of your teeth with your team. And it's got that addicting Elden Ring feeling, right? I mean, being able to take on these insurmountable, different, crazy bosses that fill up the screen, fighting a dragon on the map. It's all really fun, guys. It's great. And at the end of the day, getting these different like level ups and different power ups that you're getting on your character, that's really what keeps you kind of going, right? You want to take on different camps, you want to take on different bosses on the map and just get stronger and stronger. So I am definitely looking forward to this one. I think a lot more than before, especially because I got a taste of what they've got to offer here. Hopefully they make, maybe an open beta, or they're able to just like show us kind of how the maps are procedurally generated, because I think this one just never changed and we were just going to the same areas. If I remember correct, it was supposed to be procedurally generated. Looking forward to just hearing more about this one and trying it out when it comes out. So that wraps up my thoughts, guys, on Elden Ring Nightreign. And I think if you made it this far, appreciate you guys. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks.